Good morning, friends. Today we are going to discuss a very interesting poem of William Shakespeare, and the name of that poem is Shall I Compare Thee? As you know that Shakespeare is famous as a dramatist, but he also wrote a very interesting and a very you can say that which gives a great moral lesson, uh, uh, the poems which he has written. And most popular poems are those which he has written in praise of his friend, and but he has not identified the name of that friend. Some of his poems are addressed to a friend and others to a lady love. Uh, and he wrote almost 120 sonnets on this relationship. Shakespeare plays were identified with the Elizabethan reign, Elizabethan rule. Most of his writings were written during the period of Queen Elizabeth, when the Queen Elizabeth was the Queen of England. But today we are going to discuss his poem Shall I Compare Thee? In this poem, he wants to, he tries to convey this message that his friend is eternal, and how his friend is eternal, and his friend and his beauty and his merits is eternal. Uh, he gives some philosophical idea and some facts he has presented to establish this theory that his friends would be remembered forever. But before we start discussing the poem, we would try to know the rhyming scheme of this sonnet. So I would recite the poem and I will also tell you the rhyming scheme. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Eh, the last word of the first line is day. So we can mark it as A. Thou art more lovely and temperate. Temperate is a enduring, means sustainable. Uh, uh, that is the meaning of that. But this is a different rhyming scheme, so we can say B. Uh, Now look at the third line. Rough winds do shake the darling birds of May. Eh, Day and May, they are similar in sound. eh, They are identical rhyming schemes. So we say that this is again A. And then A, B, A. And then look at the fourth line. And summer's lease hath all too short a date. So temperate, date. So they are identical in rhyme. So the first four lines have this rhyming scheme A, B, A, B. Now look at the sixth line. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines. The shines is a different word. So we can say see. And look at the seventh. And often in his sixth line, and often in his gold complexions dim. So dim is again a new word. So we can call it, we can label it as D. eh. So C, D. Now look at another, the sixth line, the seventh line you can say, and every fear from fear sometimes declines. Declines, the shines, declines, it is same. Again it is C. By chance or nature changing course untrimmed. The dimmed, untrimmed, they are pronounced identically. So this is again D. So, so these last four lines have the rhyming scheme CD, CD. So we can call it CD, CD. So first there was A, B, A, B, the first four lines, and the next four lines are C, D, C, D. And now look at the ninth line. But by the eternal summer shall not fade. So this is a different word. So we can say E, and nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. So this is owest is another new word, new sounding word. So we can say, we can put it as F, E, F. And nor shall death break the wanderers in its shade. Fed and shed, they are similar in sound. So again it is E. And while in eternal lines to time thou growest, owest and growest, they are similar in sound. So this is again F. So the remaining, the third stanza, the third four lines have this rhyming scheme EF and EF. And look at the final lines. The final, there is a couplet. There are two lines which have the same rhyming scheme. So long as man can breathe, breath, or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life, and this gives life to thee. So C and D, they are identical in sound. So this is G, G. So this is the pattern. This is the musical pattern of the poem, because it is divided in this grouping, and this is called Shakespearean sonnet. Most of the Shakespearean sonnets are written, they follow this rhyming scheme. So we must keep in mind this technicalities of the poem. Now let's come to the discussion of the poem. Shall I Compare Thee is a well-known sonnet of Shakespeare. It is written in praise of friend's beauty. The poet uses comparisons from the world of nature, but they also convey other meanings. Most of the images, the comparisons he has made, they are from nature, but they convey other meaning. Love and courtship were the traditional subjects of the sonnet. Shakespeare added the theme of friendship in it. Earlier, the writer, the poets have written sonnets on the theme of love and courtship. Courtship means the courtly love, when there was kings and queens, and lots of people live in their courts, and they have affections and love, and how they convey their loves, because the days were not so open, they cannot declare their love openly. So these all kind of things are covered in courtship. He wrote on this relationship about 120 sonnets, and some of which are addressed to a friend and others to a lady love. Now, the poem begins with a comparison of a friend's beauty with a summer's day. It looks quite unusual to us, because in our country, in India, the summer is quite tiring and not so welcomed. But in England, the summer is a very soothing and pleasant season, because most of the times there is a cold, there is a very harsh cold in England, and even during this summer they have a springtime. So the summer is always welcomed in England. So that's why, because during the summer they have the sun which blooms, which shines brightly. So they welcome it. So that's why the poet compares his friend's beauty with a summer's day, because the summer's days are shining, because the sun comes out openly during the summer. Otherwise, it is always wrapped, it is always enveloped in clouds and fog. This thing. Yeah. So, summer is quite a different. The summer has a different experience in England in comparisons to India. And therefore, the poet compares the friend's beauty with a summer's day. And even during the summer season, the sun rays are not enduring. Enduring means they are not permanent. In this way, his friend's beauty is more lovely and more permanent, or you can say that more enduring, because there is a change in nature. Even sometime in summer we have the rainfall, and the weather changes. So this happens. On many occasions, the stormy winds shake lovely buds which are yet to blossom. Therefore, the during the summer beauty is that even the summer beauty is short-lived. Sometimes the sun shines very brightly, and on many occasions it is covered by clouds. So the poet refers this phenomena as gold complexions dimmed, because the sun's rays are compared with the gold complexion. Because the sun shines brightly, so its rays looks like gold. They have that gold-like look. The poet emphasizes this fact that law of nature, that there is nothing permanent in nature, in this world. As every fair, or you can say the beautiful loses its beauty with the passage of time. This happens sometimes by chance, or with the changes course of time. But it is certain that change take place. So in the first part of the sonnet, the poet emphasizes this fact that change is the law of nature, and even the heavenly bodies like the sun or moon or stars, they also undergoes with this phenomena, with this law of nature. They face difficult times on the specific days, on the specific time. So everything in this world changes with the passage of time, and with this theory he draws a conclusion in the second part of the sonnet, and we will discuss it in our next lecture, what conclusion the poet Shakespeare gives about this speculation, about this description. Thank you.